What is up, bookworms and constant readers? Welcome back to the channel. Today I got something a little bit different for you. I had to read this book in one of my classes for school. I debated on putting it on the channel because it's so different than what I would normally read, but it was really good. I thought I'd bring it to your attention, and you could check it out at your local library, check it out at your local bookstore. It's readily available, and it's by an author named Margin Satrapi, I think is how you say her last name, and it's Persepolis. The cover kind of sucks because this is a school book. This is a true story of this woman's childhood, and it's told like a graphic novel. So it's kind of like reading a comic book. And this lady writes about growing up in Tehran, Iran, and when she was really little, it was pretty much a free country. Women could wear whatever they wanted. Music was loud. There was alcohol. Tons of Western influence. Citizens were happy and thriving. And then that all changed when religious fundamentalists moved in and took over. And the things that this girl seen and experienced in her life is just, it's crazy to think about as someone who lives in the United States who's never had to go through that. Her life completely changes, and the government becomes this super strict religious government. She has to wear, she calls it the veil, which is a head covering. Women have to dress a certain way. Men have to dress a certain way. And as she gets older, these religious laws and rules get progressively worse. Then war comes to Tehran. Her neighbors get killed in a bombing. She thought that her parents were killed. She has relatives. They get thrown in jail for being communist, for not standing up for the religious government, rebelling against them. And she is also very rebellious. She starts acting up in school. She will wear jeans and tennis shoes out in public, which you're not supposed to do. She's often stopped by these, I forget what they're called, but they're like these moderators that basically stand around like public spaces and watch for people like her, and they will stop her and ask her all these questions, and they have the authority to just take people and take them to headquarters, and a lot of these people are never seen again. One of the things you find out is what happens to a lot of young girls, like Marjane, is they're often taken to headquarters where a religious leader marries them, then takes their virginity, rapes them, and then they're killed for being rebellious against religious laws and the government. It is really good. The artwork is fairly simple. The real shining moments, or not the artwork. It's the story, and the story she tells. One warning though is that if you get it like this, like we were issued, it's only part 1, and it ends pretty abruptly. So I have to find part 2 to finish the story and see what happens. I'm not going to ruin the ending for you in case you do check it out. I do highly recommend you check it out. It's fairly small. It is a really interesting story. This girl had a really interesting life. The things she goes through, no kid should have to go through. But yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. I wish I could show you more of the cover. Behind here is a picture of her. She looks like she does in the book here. If I can find a picture real quick, it's similar to this picture here. They do sell a hardback version of this where you get the full story, and I think that version is in paperback now, but I'm not positive on that. I've also heard that there is a movie about the two books, or the one book. It's just split into 2 volumes. But yeah, if you get the red cover like this, you're only getting volume 1. I think volume 2 is a blue cover. And I have no idea what the hardback looks like. Our professor has it, but he never showed it on camera, so I don't know what it looks like. The cover is fairly simple, but if all this was taken off, it's really well done. It looks really nice. Persepolis is the name of an ancient Persian kingdom, if I remember correctly from class. But Marjane, she's done a lot of comic books over in France. I believe now she lives in Paris. And she got out because one thing that happens in the story is she's so rebellious, her parents are afraid that she's going to be killed by the government because she's so rebellious, because she got kicked out of school. She got sent to another school and they kicked her out. And so they send her off to, I believe it's Austria, with friends that they had got out of country. And she's like 14 when this happens. And I don't know if she ever saw her parents again or what. Like I said, part 1 ends pretty abruptly. So I do want to check out part 2 and see what happens. But yeah, if you check it out, be sure you get both parts, because if you're like me and you really enjoy the story, enjoy the characters, you'll want to know what happened. The characters, there's funny moments. There's some moments that have you scratching your head. There's no real like cultural barrier. There's no real cultural barriers with this. The translation is really good, and you relate to these characters, and you really get like to see firsthand, what it's like to have your whole world turned upside down. You live in fear constantly, fear of the government, fear of dying in some sort of bombing. You also have to fear your neighbors, because if they see you doing something like throwing a party or listening to music, they can rat on you to the government, and that will get you sent to prison. It could get you killed depending on what the offense is. And they show all that and more in here. I can't recommend it enough how good the story is. I was debating to put it on the channel because it is kind of controversial. There's a lot of religious extremist views that go on in this book. For me, I'm very anti-religious. So it kind of made me mad at how these people's lives went from being extremely happy to extremely sad lives of they're prisoners in their own country, and if they don't do what the government tells them to, they can be in prison or killed. But yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. Persepolis, Marjane Satrapi. That's all I got for you. Till next time, read more books.